Hey guys, something that's been popular since Nightmare came out is the ability to pick the map that you play on. So this isn't naturally enabled, as in multiplayer, unless you do private matches, you just can't pick the map. But in Nightmare, even if you do pick private matches, you still can't pick the map. So anyway, um, there's like limitless ways to actually find out what the map is. Well, probably not, but I mean, there's quite a few. Um, Initially, the very easiest way was that, I mean, it had been possible for ages, but it now finally had a use. If you play on low quality and you like change the resolution of the game, you could see outside this area here, and like, let's just move this window over. And you can see, like, in this black area, you'd see some of this scene from the level before it actually started. So, and if you didn't like that scene there, you could just hit the back button, jump out, and try again. Back button being here. But, let's jump in. Blah. So pretty much from this window here, you could see what map you were on. You'd have to actually press the start button, but you could back out before you actually went in if you didn't like the map. Anyway, that method's still possible. It's been nerfed considerably, but below the game, yeah, it's not working. But yeah, down below, I haven't checked above actually, but just under the game, you can still see a bit. Or like, for some reason, the border around this particular window here wasn't applying in low quality before, and now it is, but it's not flush. You can still see slightly below, like a pixel or so, a couple pixels underneath this area, and that is enough to tell if you got like a good memory, or if you got a bunch of pictures of each map of what the bit underneath. It's not completely reliable though, but it can still be done that way. Anyway, the most popular method there is at the moment is the sound. So basically with that one, if you have your sound, like your game music enabled, then each map makes a different sound when it starts up. So you can literally press this, like, get in here, get a couple people in, press start, and it will, once you press start, it'll play the sound, and you'll know which map it is just by listening to that sound. Then you can back out. I think RGM has a video with all those sounds on it if you want to go take a look at that without having to actually load up the game and actually play for each map. Then I'll link that in the description because it looks pretty handy. And so another one that I'd thought of a while ago, but it's kind of ridiculous to actually set up, is basically the assumption is that if you haven't played a map, you gotta, well, the first time you play any map, you gotta load it, right? So if you clear all of these maps out of your history, then you'll have to load them all again. So what happens if you only have pods loaded? So you go through and you have to get only pods loaded and none of the others loaded. Then basically you should be able to enter a lobby, and if it says the map is loading, then you should be able to exit because you know it's not pods because you've already got pods loaded. But that is rather complicated to set up, so it's hard to test. But yeah, and there is a lot of stuff like that, which is I'm sure there's more that I don't know of, and but yeah, basically the problem here isn't that people are finding loads of ways to pick the maps that they want to play. The problem that I see is that the maps, the rewards in them are really unbalanced. Like, you really don't want to get power out in Nightmare, because you're only going to get at most one good boss, and so I mean you'll get like half as much money from it as you can get from some of the other maps. And that's the main reason Nightmare's good, for the money, because you can get like $1 million per game, or like 1.5 million if you don't buy High Roller. But I mean, honestly, you should buy High Roller every Nightmare, at least at high levels. But yeah, I mean, Power Out, it just has a horrible cast drop, because I mean, at a max game, your end game boss is going to be a mech each time, which doesn't really give that much compared to like a dev or a necrosis. They both give epic cash drops. Yeah. And so yeah, if you play Power Out, I mean, it's possible to get a necro in the first boss wave, but you're not gonna. There's no possible way of even getting a dev from the second one. You'll just get a mech. I think most of the other maps are pretty good, but then there comes Pods, which is well, basically it gives a much better reward than any of the others. It gives you a guaranteed elite necrosis from what I've seen if you play it at max level, and it's possible to get one at the start as well. But even if you don't, you get a dev, so you get a massive amount of cash from him. I mean, you can get bad bosses as well. It's always possible to get bad bosses, except for the final boss in Pods. That's always a good one. So that's the problem there. Pods gives you much better chance at getting good bosses. Power Out gives you a much better chance at getting horrible bosses. I haven't really looked into the other ones too much, but I believe they're all fairly even. I mean, they got a decent chance of good or bad at both places. One thing I have noticed though is excluding Pods and Power Out, it seems like if you get a bad boss for the first boss, then your final boss is going to be pretty bad as well. I mean, it's just a pattern I've noticed, so it's probably related. Anyway, so yeah, most people at the moment are just listening to these sounds to find out which map they want to play. So I will link in the description to that video that RGM has up of all of those sounds. If you want to take a quick peek at that to help yourself try and work this thing out. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you around.